So, where will we play this match? Pain Gaming first, Black Dragon seconds, Bank and Clubhouse, as you can see, are grayed out as they were played in the previous play week for Latin America from these two teams.
Could still see another Oregon here or a Consulate come out, and it will not be Oregon. So Consulate, all right. Maybe we'll see that fourth bomb site.
Consulate is changed ever so slightly after the last update that the last update, Green Sky.
Yeah.
They made a couple quality of life changes to various different places on the map, and then they also added in a fourth bomb site, as was touched upon in Tellers and down in the server, which for some reason it's called Archives by the game, but it's the server.
We have a lot of archives and tellers across this game, it seems like. Because you've got archives and tellers on Border, you've got archives and tellers on Bank, and you've got them here on Consulate. So there's certain themes that seem to carry across multiple maps.
So let's answer the question, who is better? And we'll bring up the community vote to decide that. Black Dragons.
Fairly close, though.
Okay. Pain Gaming, clearly the inferior team, according to the community poll.
We've said this before, but I still think there are a chunk of fans that do not realize this is not the same Black Dragons as previous. This is the third Black Dragons team.
Is it just the third? I feel like there's been more iterations.
It's possible it could be the fourth, but I know it's at least the third at this point.
So I mean, maybe it's the name. Either way, I think Black Dragons possibly going to have a breakout performance here today. I mean, would not surprise me. We've seen turnarounds plenty of times before in Pro League. So, Pain Gaming getting the short end of the stick there.
Well, either way, let's say, for example, NIP finally starts showing up and they start rocketing up the leaderboard. I would like to see at least a good showing from Black Dragons if they're going to go out, before they go out. Like, let's see a few good matches from them. Even if they still end up in that 8th place, I would hate to see them go out just not really showing up a ton in Pro League.
Yeah, it definitely would be unfortunate. I mean, even on a match-by-match basis, you can have instances where a team will do well against an opponent that they're predicted to lose against. Like, for example, what we just witnessed, FaZe versus Bootcamp ended in a 6-3 in FaZe's favor. However, Bootcamp played fairly well in that match. While they did make a number of mistakes, there were certain rounds where they seemed absolutely lethal.
Yeah.
So there's potential for a performance that can wow all of us. It just, might not, maybe even without getting a win.
Yeah, I just like to see more of that, in case they're going to go out. But the way NIP have been playing, I'm not sure who's going to end up there in that bottom spot. I mean, there are still quite a few weeks left to go. The way NIP have been playing?
Yeah. Oh,
it's just not been great.
Yeah, so you're referring to that position at the bottom.
Yeah.
It is going to be a challenge. Of course, as we've touched upon before, if you are in the 8th spot at the end of the regular season, then you are gone. You're auto-relegated down to Challenger League, and you don't get a second fighting chance. You're just gone.
And this is the only region where someone actually got in through, or managed to defend their spot against Challenger League. Because when we had the relegations last time, in all the other regions, both Challenger League teams came in and knocked out 2 bottom teams from Pro League. This was the one case where a team managed to stick around, and Black Dragons beating their opponent, the other red at the time, managed to sneak into the spot. So it would be interesting to see if they were able to at least keep that spot for another season, but...
Yeah, as you touched on, though, the way that Ninjas and Pajamas have been playing, it's entirely possible, because... we've had a pretty poor season from NIP so far.
Outside of LAN events, where they seem to show up. And we have that with some of these teams, and it's Brazil especially, they play a lot of LAN.
Yeah.
So they're definitely comfortable there. It's just always, it's weird when they can't perform that way online. And it's like, especially some of them might even be living in team houses and things like that, where they're essentially in a kind of LAN environment.
We've also seen the same thing out of like Obey and Cloud9 from North America, right? Cloud9, of course, doing really well at DreamHack Montreal. And then Obey... they did really decent at the Paris Major, but they couldn't make anything really come of it, but they did very well. They performed well. And then, you go online and it's a totally different ballgame. So
you'd think it would make that much of a difference. I know ping makes a difference, but maybe it's just being together in person makes a difference psychologically.
I don't even think it's the ping. When you play on the LAN build, it's just like it feels like a different game.
Yeah.
Like it actually changes how everything works out. Your playstyle has to adjust, and your mentality has to adjust. So I think that there are some players who just are better in that environment than they are on the online build.
You'd think they'd be more adjusted to online since that's played more often, but
I think it's something that's, inherent to one person. Right? The thing is, the LAN build versus the online build are so fundamentally different in how they play that it is something kind of at your core that's going to make you excel at that LAN version versus on the online version.
You just need to make sure that the players that are kind of peppered into teams that have good online players, and that we have the balance, right?
There's only a few teams that have managed to find like the right balance.
Yeah.
But they do exist.
Obviously, I would say G2 are one of them.
I think everybody would say that G2, the jack of all trades, so to speak, excelling at all of those trades at the same time somehow. All that said, though, G2 is not playing here. Black Dragons versus Pain. We'll be going into Consulate, and Pain will be starting on defense. Because of that, they will ban first, and we'll see what they decide to get rid of.
See if it's something going to be interesting here. One thing we do see quite a bit of, for example, is Valkyrie getting banned on this map because you don't want all those outside cameras. But then you could also get an IQ ban, which is rare, but can happen. But Lion, the most predictable of bans at the moment, is going to get the axe.
Everybody banning Lion. It just we haven't seen very many matches where Lion isn't banned.
And when he's not, he's definitely played.
Oh, he's always, yeah. Whenever Lion is left unbanned, he's played by both teams. Even teams that in the past didn't favor Lion, he's still managed to make his way so fiercely into that meta.
This is one of the maps, of course, where we do see Blackbeard banned quite a bit. So that itself is not a big surprise as well. No hard breachers or anything banned off. We do occasionally see Thermite, as I believe we saw even EG doing that 2 nights ago.
It was indeed the Thermite ban from Evil Geniuses on Consulate to help them defend the basement.
Yep. Well, in this case, the basement going to be a little more wide open, but there is not going to be a mirror there to defend it, as they're more conventional ban. I mean, we did see it. The lack of a mirror ban last map being somewhat impactful in terms of both teams playing it, but I wouldn't say it was a huge game changer.
No. I think mirror on this map is good, but definitely not worth a ban.
Yeah.
So, unless you just don't have the tools, or you don't want to utilize those tools in order to deny the mirror window.
That's true. It could be team or play preference.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you could just forget about mirror windows on attack, it can give you a lot of peace of mind. So it's up to you as the team who's attacking to decide whether or not that's something you want to deal with.
Well, there's a nice 6-pick to counter the other 6-pick without knowing it.
Yeah, look at that. They're actually they're countering. Oh man, that's kind of funny. The natural anti-pulse being brought by the attackers. So it wasn't deliberate by either team, but this is just how it played out. Kind of funny how that works.
Well,
Payton going to the top floor to start things off.
Be interesting to see how the Jackal plays out in this as well. As for example, you might have the Pulse roaming way downstairs, which is common, right? You'll have him play a bit more off-site, and then he could be caught off guard by that Jackal. Whereas some of these other players are definitely going to be playing much closer to the site, and your footprints are not going to pay off too much. But whoever walks into admin is most likely to leave something that Jackal will find.
Yeah. You could see clearly the operator selection for the attackers, for Black Dragons, is designed for an attack onto the bottom floor. That's what they were anticipating.
Yeah.
They've brought the Thermite, which you kind of have to do. It's just expected that you have to, on the first round, you need to have him as a tool in case you are attacking the bottom floor.
After that, though, you can kind of feel out what bomb sites they're going to want to play, and also know when certain bomb sites are locked out. And that can give you an advantage on whether or not you know you need to bring Thermite.
IQ also a bit of a compulsive operator on this map, given how powerful operators like Pulse and Valkyrie are here. Going to counter the Echo and the Pulse very directly.
Also in this case, it would have potentially spotted out the evil eyes of the Maestro that there was going to be before he changed to Pulse.
Yeah.
And that would have been helpful in terms of when you're getting set up for the attack, knowing if you're going to have to deal with an evil eye in the plant situation or not. But either way, that's not going to be the case, although even more of a counter in this situation.
We've seen this singular castle barricade a couple times before on the A balcony. It is a double-edged sword. It does two things. One, it allows you to play in the east side of Projector, which can be a very powerful position for the defenders without worrying about pressure from that second A balcony window. But the other thing it does that hurts you is it also allows the attackers to establish themselves on the A balcony without worrying about you shooting them. And they can then use the angle that is very easy to open up through the other unreinforced window to deny a rotation through connector. So that singular castle is a bit of a risk, but Drunk's first kill of the match goes to on to 9 XT. And,
Well,
it's a good start.
Newer guy going down first, unfortunately.
Yeah, not great for him to start things off like that, but it does happen. Second challenge here from Drunk's, not able to land his shots onto the Legion of GCR. Does do some damage, but no actual kill. We'll also find the Yokai drone, as we talked about, perfect counter. A missed smoke from Lev will make the push here so much harder.
Well, at least in the meantime, it does give him cover to find Legion's footprints, although with the range buff, I wouldn't say that's really necessary at this point.
No, certainly not necessary. That's just a bit of a waste of utility there for BD, but I don't think they're going to mind it too much. They do still have a lot of utility in hand. However, speaking of utility, you've got Rev downstairs, who does still have that C4 and can deny the plant as it is coming out in the site. Pulse not aware of this, neither is the Echo. His Yokais have been destroyed as well, but here comes Pain with the kills. They still have to work against a post-plant, but they're managing to shred Black Dragons, and seemingly there's nobody actually watching the diffuser right now. It's possible we could see a simple disable here for Pain as they continue to retake this site. Drunk's going to miss some important shots there, but not the follow-up. A double for Drunks. That's 3 for him in the round. RDZ, though, as the last attacker, will not be able to deny the disable, and Pain will retake successfully onto the A site.
Well, it was good for them that Revolt was able to actually land his C4 and get a kill from below. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough to stop the defuse plant, but either way, good play by him, and that was just one of the many kills that seemed to fall down. Once, as you said, they didn't have good coverage of the diffuser, although I imagine losing a few members of your team will also make that coverage much harder, but there's too many people too far from it at that point. So unfortunate for them, they were, good on them though, getting that the plant actually down. Like that was a decent execute, but no coverage of it means it's kind of all for naught. We'll see though how defense fares on Garage. This is where that they're going to be a little more useful this time.
Oh, certainly. This is why you...
Oh, nope, they switched to lobby.
Oh, interesting. Instead of going to the basement, going to the middle floor. Now, that is going to make the Thermite somewhat useless here. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can open up with him. That's going to be...
The bathroom back wall, I guess. But you've got Hibana for that, so you don't really need to.
Yeah, usually you use the Hibana for that if that is something you want to do, but because if you push Thermite into Z, trying to get the bathroom back wall,
risky.
So exposed. But Hibana actually can be 6 picked off of onto a buck, so... If you do want to open the wall, there you go. That's what you have, and it's even you don't need to. Is the thing. While you can deny a lot of pressure from the bathroom, if you do open up that back of bathroom wall, it's not necessary.
No,
it's just a convenience thing for the attackers.
Well, if it comes down to it being soft, of course they can open that up with the buck if they need to as well.
I seriously doubt it will be though. I mean, one thing about this site for defense is there's not a lot to reinforce. You often have a bunch of reinforcements just sitting in your players' inventories here. So finding things to open up, or sorry, rather close up, can sometimes be a struggle. And basic stuff like the back of bathroom wall, it kind of goes without saying.
Yeah, we'll see. They are going to be bringing out the Maestro this time from Revolt instead of the Pulse, so he's going to stick it, not 6 pick off of it. But they are still continuing with the Echo. Now, they don't have the IQ this time to be able to spot that. I imagine had they not been able to spot that with the IQ last time, Echo could have been a factor in stopping the plant from getting down. Ultimately, it didn't matter necessarily because they retook just fine. But in this case, Spawns is going to be in a better position to deny it, especially on this floor here, assuming he can stay alive a little bit off-site, potentially even in the bathroom.
You see Black Dragons going to put their focus on the top floor. Good coordination here. Drone and Lev on the clear to try and find the opponents after they have been called out. Knows he's being pressured from the connector thanks to his teammates' drones, and he's going to be cautious of that as he attempts to repel. But GCR also very cautious, just holding on to his spot and waiting.
He just wants to buy as much time as possible. A lot of times this usually starts with an admin take, but it's interesting that they're going for console first to take that. And a lot of droning coming out. You see the swarm of them. I mean, one of them getting, there we go. They're all getting pretty much picked off or jumped off of. But either way, a great start here in terms of, now they took admin control as well. So this is a good pinch onto GCR and FK1 if they can make it happen.
The drop down is very likely open in the main lobby, so these defenders do have something to fall back to. But if they are eliminated before they can fall back, then this is going to be a huge advantage for Black Dragons. You can see the marks coming off to long desk, the Jaeger on top of that mark still, but Slash doesn't commit to the peak, and because of that, he will not get the kill. This is a huge blunder from the Ying. A potential free kill is actually going to result in his death, as FK is now peeking up above the long desk. A second one for FK, and Lev will finally shut him down, but oh, the damage is done. The Jaeger, great positional play there, and the caution from Black Dragons, and Slash specifically, will actually cost them quite a lot.
It was just unfortunate that it was the slow push-up for the coverage on that the Visa Stairs flank that he was worried about. Took him too long to get into position, and yeah, that ultimately cost him. GCR going to go for play here as well. Can't find enough shots, though. It does at least about half damage. Not enough to finish it, as he is at half damage as well. He can start to fall back, but he's not.
Yeah, instead, he's peeking the Visa Stairs. What is this? The positioning from the last attack, or the attacker up in the projector, was really odd, but Spawns will take him down before 9XT gets the final kill. That was such a weird round from Black Dragons in Pain. An absolute dominant one.
I mean, that really should have gone Black Dragon's way initially. They had a good
Yeah.
They took control of both sides of the top floor, but their complete inability to execute on the two players holding it. I mean, good coverage of each other, good play between those guys. It's not like they were playing it poorly at all, but nonetheless, just great defense.
I gotta be honest, I saw so many opportunities there for Black Dragons. They just did not at all seize any of them.
Just poor timing and coordination.
Yeah, true. The call is also a little bit confusing for Black Dragons. You know, Jaeger, or rather the Bandit who was pushing out of Projector over to Long Desk, he kind of went ring around the rosy with the Zofia, who was pushing that Long Desk himself. So neither of them actually came into a fight, and it was the Echo who managed to sweep up Zofia inside of Projector. No matter what, though, it's just some odd play from the Black Dragons, and two potential free kills on the top floor because of how aggressive Pain were playing turned into absolute devastation.
Well, so far we're 2 for 2 for the defensive bomb sites for Pain, so they definitely got a strong showing coming out here. Now they are the higher ranked team and the team that should be preferred as they were in the community, well, would be in the community vote, I think, if people realize it was different Black Dragons, but either way, this is a good start from them. I mean, it definitely doesn't lock things out for them, as side switches tend to matter quite a bit in terms of which side you're defending, but success on both of your primary bomb sites and potential for success on your third. If they pull this off, this is definitely going to be a pretty good lockout of at least the initial 5 rounds from Pain.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet, but it is looking like a pretty dominant match right now for Pain. That's for sure. Black Dragons just struggling, I think, with their coordination, and a lot of their shot calling is just kind of off point. One thing of note is that they were taking that top floor with a really beautiful setup on admin and on CEO, but when it came to actually getting into the rough and tough of it, and going toe-to-toe with their opponents, it fell flat, absolutely. So you can have the most beautiful setup in the world, but if you're unable to win your fights, it's not going to matter. So definitely something that BD needs to change, but they still have time for that. Plenty of time. Slash is going to be challenging from this A balcony onto Connector. It's GCR, but he will actually down himself as he drops, unable to commit fully to the balcony. I think a little bit confused as to what he was trying to do there.
Yeah, I don't think that was a purposeful drop, but either way, at least he'll get back up with 50% health, but nonetheless...
Definitely not a purposeful drop.
Yeah, not a great start for Slash.
Yep. GCR, on the other hand, with FK and Spawns on this top floor, will continue their roam. Then they are able to dictate both the top and the middle floor from this position. And as you see with this impact, he will now be able to deny any push to the front of White, again, from this top floor. So this is a lot of control that Pain are able to maintain. And they're actually, because we're coming out of the last minute, going to start rotating downstairs, it seems, to try and inflict more damage onto the Black Dragon's attack. But the way that Pain is playing right now on defense, it doesn't feel like they're being pressured at all. The garage has opened up, but where's the pressure?
Yeah, they're just free roaming the whole map at this point. Seems like there's just no real solid map control from BD. I mean, yeah, a few shots down there. That's definitely a great kill there onto the Maestro, and a good follow-up as well from the Zofia. But nonetheless, still a lot of map control here for the defenders.
Yeah, and there was a gas canister kill there from 9XT. GCR is going to take out Slash, so the roamers finally coming into play. Not a whole lot of anchors left, as it was a good push downstairs, but FK, another kill, and GCR all's well, so it's between the two roamers that they sweep up the rest of Black Dragons. Pain will take the round and put themselves far ahead, 3-0.
So between FK1 and GCR, we're seeing a little bit of a pattern here when it comes to those duo roaming. Seems to be fairly effective, fairly strong. They are going to get to go back to console. Of course, they don't have to go to the 4th bomb site the way things are set up, just maximum of 3 that you have to go to, but nonetheless, they've shown dominance on all 3 of them, so this is not looking good for Black Dragons, who're going to have to find at least 1 or 2 points here if they don't want to go in with a serious disadvantage on the second half, because they need every point they can get to at least try and go for a tie so they don't get knocked so far down the leaderboard that they end up in a situation where Nip overtakes them.
I can't say what it is that's causing this, but Black Dragons are tripping over themselves right now. They're not making mistakes in that they're not capitalizing upon their opponent's mistakes. They're having trouble getting to the position where they would even have that opportunity.
Yeah.
But because Pain isn't playing a perfect match right now. They're certainly not. I mean, that roam 2 rounds ago when they were defending the lobby and they were roaming upstairs, it did not seem like the 2 roamers on the top floor were in a good position, and Black Dragons should have been able to collapse pretty easily.
I think some of it also, like people like FK1 just making really good fast peaks.
But before they could even get to that point, they struggled when they got into those fights with FK1, for example, on the long desk. But the thing is, if Slash had just committed fully to pushing FK, the first time he peaked him, then it would have been the easiest kill of his career. I mean,
lack of confidence.
The guy was just sitting crouched there. He was live on a mark, and it's just that. It's lack of confidence that resulted in Slash not peaking fully and dying as a result. So that needs to change for Black Dragons if they want to have any hope of bringing this back.
It's going to be pretty hard to change your confidence level upwards when you've lost this many rounds in a row already.
I guess.
So that's going to be a bit of a struggle if they can pull that off. I mean, 1 or 2 round win, though, would swing the momentum in their favor in terms of feeling like that. Maybe that would be all they need, or is a few good early kills in a round.
You know,
could help with that.
It's also not confidence in yourself necessarily. It's confidence in the people surrounding you. You know,
it's trust mixed with confidence, right?
Yeah. Well, it's when you commit to yourself to a peak like that. The reason you're doing it is because you know, hey, there's a problem that needs solving. I have the information, I have the know-how, I have the tools. But there's potential for me to die while doing this if I mess up. Now, the confidence that you need is the confidence to know that, hey, if I die and I mess up, then my team's going to be able to recover this without me.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen for Black Dragons. They need to be able to commit to plays like that because they know, hey, my teammates have got this no matter what. If I mess it up, it's okay.
Yeah.
But that does not seem to be something that Black Dragons has right now. And as Drunks gets GCR from the Visa stairs, this is a glaring hole that Pain has had in their defense for a while now, especially last time they were on the top floor. Drunks was able to do a lot of damage from this position. It seems like something that should be easy to shut down, but clearly Pain having their own struggles here in this match.
Well, that is just 1 early kill, and they are still a little bit slow on the rest of their attack. It was just kind of, let's peek and try and get some control of that area. They did not push coordinated onto that, so we'll see if that turns into anything more here. As it looks like they're still kind of struggling to figure out how they want to get set up for the attack itself, for the take, but at least they have the ability to get some extra intel from the scanner there.
He's trying to find those yokai drones, and he will find the same exact one that Spawns put there last time. I think fool me once, shame on me, or on you, and then fool me twice. You know, you gotta make some adjustments there. Spawn's second yokai drone going into the site, but Drunk's unable to hit his shots. Revolts will get the first kill for Pain, and look at this. We're coming down to the last 40 seconds, so this is going to put a lot more pressure on Black Dragons, but they will alleviate it somewhat by getting 2 kills, leaving Pain in a 2 versus 4. This could potentially be the very first Black Dragons round unless something crazy happens. The C4 from below, missed it! No! Revolts! Left takes down 9, Revolts in the 1v4, and oh boy, it does not look like he is on point right now. Black Dragons will take their first round, nearing the end of the first half.
Much better round from them. They didn't, I mean, I think in the similar round before, they'd gone for the plant earlier and gotten the plant down. I think this time they took a little more control, made sure that people were in better positions, got some picks and things like that, instead of just rushing for the plant. And I think it worked out better for them this time because the retake was so effective before. But that missed C4, unfortunately cost them quite a bit in terms of that plan.
That was clearly a calculated play from Payne, having Revolts be down there to throw the C4. But if you miss it, it doesn't matter. So
yeah, it's just an angle thing, you know, because it seemed like it would have worked, right? But it was just slightly off in the angle in that arc. Gravity isn't always your friend. But either way, good round for Black Dragons. And finally, maybe they can get that confidence back after that round.
Yeah, hopefully for Black Dragons. You can see Payne's going to go to the main lobby, and they, I guess, feel more comfortable here than the top floor, and rightfully so. A big part of the reason Payne lost that last round is that they just have glaring holes in their defense. The biggest one is that Drunks is able to walk up Visa stairs without any pressure being applied to him whatsoever. And that's the second time on that top floor hold that Payne has lost someone to Drunks walking up Visa stairs. In fact, if you take a look at the scoreboard, Drunks is the standout performer for Black Dragons, giving his team a leg in this match. So,
I mean, most of the time you usually have a smoke up there to do a lot of contesting of that room, and it seems like they don't want to play that. They'd rather have a Jaeger or a Bandit.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, I think, something that is up to personal preference on how you want to handle it. If you bring those aggressive operators, you can deal with somebody pushing up Vista stairs, but it's not as easy as just, hey, utility.
Well, I think it's smoke brings the combination of the utility of the smoke itself, which is either going to potentially do some damage to them or deny them vision and entry. But also it's the shotgun with that 90-degree angle where he can also whip around that corner very quickly on someone like Drunks at the top of the stairs, and it's very likely to land all those pellets right in his face.
Absolutely. Now, similar top floor clear here from Black Dragons is what we've seen from them in the past. CEO admin combination, but this time actually minus the admin for whatever reason. They seem to be a little bit more focused on yellow stairs right this minute. GCR has taken some shots, likely from Lev repelling on that window. I love this positioning here from RDZ, but it seems like it's been detected from spawn, so shut down. Black Dragons are trying to find a hole in the defense, but there's a good information network from that defensive side.
It's unfortunate for Spawns. He keeps losing his yokais every time, but at least in that case, he might have just saved at least one defender's life, so that was a good use of it, I suppose. But I don't feel like he's going to get a lot of great use out of it, and there he goes. He's going to die now, so definitely not going to use him. Hopefully he had the other one in a good position that he can watch from the grave.
Yeah, no more yokai play, or at least no more yokai movement, and Drunks is going to continue his performance being exceptional in this match. GCR also losing a lot of HP means the attackers are in a really good position right now. Slash going to use his Candelas to take out 9XT in a second for him onto Revolts. 2 versus 5 here for Payne, and as I say that, 1 versus 5, Drunks gets another kill. FK goes down with relative ease, leaving just GCR. And while he does have a tall task ahead of him, it's possible. Nope. Okay. Drunks shuts him down. That was just about as dominant as it gets in any round.
Well played by Drunks, as you mentioned. I mean, he got a little bit of a freebie with the defender backing right into it, but nonetheless, the rest of those were very good kills. The last one probably not as difficult as some of the earlier ones, but either way, he's definitely showing up for his team, and it's making a difference on this comeback. Sure, it's only 2 rounds, but hey, that's the way the first rounds often go. Yeah, those last 2 rounds can easily be described as the Drunks show. Yeah. Really the only one for Black Dragons doing anything spectacular. We did see Slash get some kills there with the Ying and utilizing his Candela as well, but I think most of it just came down to Drunks opening up the round with all those frags. Well, it'll be interesting to see how that switches then. If he sticks on Pulse, for example, while you can... Nope, there we go. I was going to say, while you can do a lot of fragging, it's not usually a fragging operator early in the round. It's more intel. But Legion is one where you can do a little bit of both. You can gather some good intel with the Legion mines. You can also do some good killing with the gun because you're not stuck on a camera. Legion is ultimately a fragger augmented with utility. Heavy. He's got the heavy utility feature, but he's not really that kind of operator because what does he do other than deal out damage and gather information? Yeah, he's great for, of course, using it for himself as well for peaks. You set him in a position where it goes off and you know exactly where it's at. You peek it, get the kill. So you can definitely use it, you know, to your own benefit. Make sure that you can get extra frags with that. We'll see if that ends up being the case for Drunks. We are going to see a Maestro and Echo as well coming out from Black Dragons. We'll see if Lev can do a little bit more with it than we saw from Spawns. Maybe not getting caught as much, but Spawns, of course, doing the exact opposite. He's going to bring the IQ now, so he's going to be the one to try and spot Lev's Drunks.
Interesting that they're opening that
That's
hole.
an angle, huh?
It looks like they want to fight the skylight.
It certainly looks that way. I mean, unless this is for extra coverage from another Evil Eye we didn't see earlier.
Why does he keep flicking his screen? Yeah, I'm not sure what the thought process is there from Black Dragons. I don't know what they're trying to control.
I'll hopefully see it
On that skylight, but it's definitely not an easy thing to fight as a defender. Usually you put yourself at the mercy of the attackers if you're challenging an angle like that.
Especially if they can get up on the windows as well.
And if they drone you out, then I mean, man, it's all over. Just pre-fire and you're done.
Well, either way, it could be a case where he has maybe another Evil Eye set up on a cross angle, perpendicular to the one that he just put there.
I mean,
that can't see through that.
Clearly, it looks like they're not going to play in B. They're going to use their indirect denial to dictate the B site. Slash just peeking onto the A balcony. He will take out 9XT. The aggression from Black Dragon seemingly working out quite well. Slash is going to eat a lot of damage, as does Lev, but they're both 3 armors, so they'll be able to shrug it off.
Yeah, they're definitely good taking advantage of those ACOGs to peek the windows from a bit of a distance. In this case, it seems to be working out. It's just not always leading to kills. Fortunately, a little feet shot there, going to do a lot of damage, but not quite land a kill. FK1, though, with a nice grenade. And that's going to take Slash out, finishing the job that was started by the windows.
GCR, aware of his opponent's location on the Visa stairs, goes for the peek after the flash and will land a beautiful, very clean kill onto Small. RDZ, though, will respond onto spawns. It's not all over for Black Dragons. You can see they've got a bit of a second wind here. Their fighting spirit is much more in this match, and while they do have 3 very lit operators, there's still potential for them to win this round. Pain has a lot of time, though, so that's something that's not working in BD's favor.
We'll see. Because, of course, time is the one thing that helps equalize that damage there. At least Lev is, as you mentioned, a 3 armor, so he can stand up to quite a bit of damage. But RDZ is going to have to take advantage of his speed if he wants to land any kills before he gets taken out himself. Attack has slowed down, though. And this will make it so defenders have the ability to get some repositioning going if they have some idea where the defenders are. And hopefully these yokai drones are helping with that.
RDZ is in the linchpin position. If he's able to get a decent flank, this could be still a win for Black Dragons. Lev will take out FK1 on the long angle from Big Desk, and GCR goes down to Lev as well. Great job for him playing inside A, able to deny both of the potential avenues for the defense. Revolt's seemingly unaware of the Jaeger, but finally will spot him out due to the pre-fire from RDZ. He doesn't have a lot of HP left, so it's unlikely he's going to be able to win 2 more fights, but he's going to try, and Lev will shut him down. Nice kill there from Lev, and overall excellent round for him as an individual. Black Dragons will take it. So we even out 3-3.
Great comeback here. 3 rounds in a row for Black Dragons after losing 3 rounds in a row. So they seem to be a bit more warmed up now at this phase. It could be a case, though, where we see a lot of heavy defensive wins at first from both sides. But either way, that is stringing 3 together in a row. And if they can continue that, that could really put them in a great position up to either tie or match point. And maybe be able to close it out with a win against Pain would be a pretty big deal for the team to try and keep themselves out of that bottom spot. We'll see how well they can hold Garage, though, and if they go for any sneaky 6 picks here. Nothing too unusual coming out from Pain, although it's interesting to see they both play both the Ashe and the Zofia still in this day and age.
Ashe? Nope. Well, it looks like they're gonna 6-pick that
Debated.
Zofia, possibly. I mean, they could still keep Zofia.
That's true.
We'll see. But ooh.
All right.
9XT going on to Blitz, an operator that has seen considerably less play recently for whatever reason. And I definitely a lot of damage you can do with the operator. However, I think the main thing to note for me here is that we're going onto the bottom floor, and there is no thermite.
Yeah, that seems, I mean, you can play it with Habana. It's certainly not impossible at all. But it is, it's a little trickier to play that.
It's not impossible, it's just hard.
Yeah.
So, Pain Gaming putting themselves in a bit of a corner here as they go on to the attack of the bottom floor. You can still do some work with that Blitz, though, so we'll see if that's going to compensate.
Maybe the plan is to take yellow stairs with Blitz in that situation. They can make it so they're possible to get in there. Small, unfortunately, the newest person of the team, or newest member rather, at 0 kills so far. Not really showing up too well compared to 9X, who is the newest member of Pain. So, battle of the new guys working out a little bit in Pain's favor. Although that means we also haven't seen 9X play Blitz before, so we don't really know how effective of a Blitz he is.
We definitely could perform well on him here. Oh, comes down to the individual, of course. You know, we have those great shield players like Julio, for example, coming out of the LATAM region. I think, in fact, LATAM as a region has got a lot of the more vicious blitzes. We'll see if 9X is going to add himself to those ranks. Pain clearly focused right now on clearing the top floor, and they have already done so. Great drone work from them. You can see Black Dragons choosing to default quite a lot of their players just back to the site, trying to wait for this round to end, as defenders often do.
Well, they're doing a good job of it. They're not really getting droned out too heavily. You're seeing a lot of this map control is being given over to the attackers, but at the same time, at least they're not contesting and losing the fights. Although they're also not buying themselves much extra time either, as most of the map has been taken now, so they can focus on a bit more execution, start to open up the ceiling as you're seeing them do here, get some angles down. But those work two ways, as we like to say. Drunks with a nice early kill, even on defense.
Drunks, man, absolutely on fire, compensating for the lack of kills from the rest of his teammates. Great job to him. Again, it seems almost as if these last 3 to 4 rounds now, you could really just call just Drunks performing.
Well, it's certainly helping.
9 will get the batteries, so that's going to allow Revolts to open up the garage with his Excaros. However, yet again, that's not a lot. The Habana Excaros is going to be limited in how much destruction you can get out of it. Again, typically you want to have a thermite here. So while the damage is done, the wall is open, it's not going to be a great thing for Pain to use.
I like the pressure from 9X. He pressured yellow stairs. Oh, they're small with finally his first kill.
Nice.
On spawns. Well played. But the way 9X is pressuring, he got smoke hit him, and it didn't even do any damage because he was already on top of getting away from it. You saw him pressure at the spiral stairs as well. He is all over the map, just pressuring every angle he can to stop rotations up. But 30 seconds left means the rest of his team needs to do something with that, and there's a nice flank by Small for his second kill of the round.
And his second kill total. I mean, he's just been playing this round out of his mind, it seems so far. Nice shot there from Revolts through the black car window. 9XT is also going to eat a lot of damage, but will finish off Slash using Revolts down in that garage. The defuse plant also going down as the Yokai drone has been eliminated. 9XT, though, will be down to himself after blinding Small. So Small doesn't know what he's done. Revolts will get a kill into Lev, but finally go down, and here you go. 4K for Small, if I'm not mistaken. RDZ will get the disable on the diffuser. A nice retake from Black Dragons.
That's how you go from calling him out for having no kills to a 4K.
Well, possibly 3K, actually.
Either way.
We'll find out.
It was definitely more than 1 and less than 5.
That is true.
It's the important thing.
Maths. Now, we will see, again, a round for Black Dragons. So this, oh man, what a weird match. The first 3 rounds, Pain Gaming, and very dominantly Pain Gaming. Now 4 rounds in a row for Black Dragons. Pretty crazy. You don't usually see that happen.
Well, I'm sure Black Dragons is pretty happy about that. Going to try and have that momentum and confidence. They're winning a lot of their fights. But again, like you said, a lot of this comeback is due to Drunks. But at the same time, at least Small showed up that round and definitely was not going to be left out of that. Fortunately, it looks like we may have to do a rehost, though. So that momentum might get slowed down a little bit, possibly even reversed.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Definitely. Looks like we're going to be doing a rehost. All right, cool. So,
thankfully, only the first of the night so far.
Yeah, actually, it's been a pretty decent one so far. I mean, the last North American play day, I think we did 9.
Yeah, I think the patch
9 or 10
yesterday might have impacted that potentially.
Probably.
So
I hope.
Crossed.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. Instead of so, but yes, some technical issues. So we'll get back to it as soon as we can. However, from this match so far, there isn't really a lot to really be gleaned. Here's what happened. Pain Gaming in the first 3 rounds were making a lot of mistakes. Black Dragons were making way more. And because Black Dragons were making so many more, they couldn't even see Pain Gaming's mistakes because they were having trouble getting past their own mistakes. Yeah. Then suddenly, on round number 4, for whatever reason, Black Dragons stopped making those mistakes, or at least in not as much abundance. And then they started to find all the holes that Pain Gaming were leaving in their defense, then shift over to Pain Gaming on attack. And Black Dragons have been having a pretty good time at just waiting out these rounds. Pain Gaming have been very slow with their takes and very uncoordinated, seemingly unsure what they actually want to do. I feel like that's something I say a lot. It's like a team is unsure what they want to accomplish.
You can usually see it when they stall out.
Yeah, but that is clearly the case here with Pain Gaming. They had cleared out the top floor. They cleared out the middle floor. 1:45 left, and what happens? Nothing for 30 seconds. Then, 9XT manages to clear out the batteries. Hibana rotates outside a garage, but by herself. Revolts just the singular player outside of the garage. And then, after the garage gets opened up, that singular player, not able to really do a whole lot of work. More importantly, there was no lockdown on the potential late flanks from the defenders, which allows Small to get his first kills and ultimately win the round for his team, because the stairs weren't being watched and Pain was so excruciatingly slow on their take.
Well, both teams are allowing a lot of fluidity from the defenders. We saw it on the reverse side as well, the way that Pain were able to run around the map and kind of do what they wanted to a lot of the time. Just the lockdowns weren't necessarily happening from Black Dragons, but then we're seeing the reverse as well. Like you're saying about Small being able to run around. Some of that was more of a retake because they gave away a lot of the map first, but you didn't see the consistent pressure. They were rotating 9x between multiple areas and not really locking down any one of them to stop the rotations back.
Yeah, and that's the confusing thing. It's just, why is that being allowed to continually happen? The only attacking rounds that we've seen be successful, the last two for Black Dragons.
Yeah.
Other than that, the defense from both teams has just been wreaking havoc, and that is weird on a map like Consulate, where yes, there's roaming potential, but it shouldn't be so easily accessible and exploitable.
Especially when we're seeing Jackals come out, for example.
Because it's a very shallow map.
Yeah. It's not that crazy. There's only a few stairwells and rotations you really got to control. They're not too hard to control. There's even ways to control a lot of them from the outside, from window peaks and things like that. So there's plenty of opportunity for them to be doing that, but it seems like they want to play more fluid. Like you said, not necessarily knowing what they want to do means they're not locking down things. They're just kind of playing it by ear, playing it by IGL calls or by opportunities they see. And because of that, the lack of consistency in their holds of their map control is kind of biting them, I guess, in the back.
It's definitely a mentality that you can use. It's not the end of the world, but you need to commit to a certain extent to your plays. And it's just not been happening from the attackers of either team. Again, Black Dragons, the only ones able to win an attacking round.
Well, maybe we'll see it switch around after this short kind of delay we have here.
And they managed to get 2. And yeah, who knows? Maybe after this delay, it's the pause that Pain Gaming needs in order to start winning attacking rounds.
Definitely possible, but of course they've got to kind of realize the things that they're doing wrong, which is not always the easiest thing to do unless you have a coach or someone else to kind of provide some objective point of view and say, like, I noticed you guys are doing this wrong, because everyone's kind of in their own heads, hopefully not playing the blame game.
Yeah. I mean, one thing to keep in mind is, technically an online match, I guess, if your coach is standing behind you, he can still, he could be like, yeah, hey, here's what we're doing wrong, here's how we can fix things. It doesn't work the same way it does at Landovitz, if I'm not mistaken. Again,
yeah, you don't need a tactical timeout to be able to get, I mean, obviously, because that's something that you can't really enforce, right? Online, you can't really kind of enforce their communication, and so something that's an opportunity for a coach to kind of get used to communicating with his team, but either way, that's assuming they take advantage of that at all, and rather than just have him watch VODs later.
I mean, that's what most coaches do. I mean, there's a lot of strategy and analytical work that goes into being a coach that's outside of the actual match, but there's always room for improvement there. Now, we've seen a pretty substantial comeback from Black Dragon. Pain Gaming now attempting to get this match back in their favor, but they're down 1 round. They managed to lose the lead in spectacular fashion, and while they looked so strong in the beginning, it's just seeming like it's not going to happen. The comeback.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they're just going to have to shore up the few things they're doing wrong. If they can, I could see them shutting down, especially if they're able to shut down people like Drunks early enough. It's possible we could see a swing back here without a huge stretch of imagination.
I mean, yeah, true. But at the same time, we had Small in that last round who had been doing nothing throughout the whole match. Impact frags, man. You don't have to have an abundance of frags. If you get the ones that matter the most, then there you go. You're contributing, and you're doing a bang-up job of it. Small was the reason that Black Dragons won the round we just witnessed.
That's good gotta be good for when you're not sure if the new guy's working out and you're seeing him drop the 0 that whole time and then show up. Of course, that's on well into the actual match, but either way, good on him. Of course, now once we go to the rehost, the scores will be reset as well, so you won't be able to necessarily see where everyone stands for all the previous rounds, so keep that in mind in terms of referencing other players.
I want to say Drunks was on like 12 kills.
Probably, yeah, at least
there.
double digits.
Yeah, he definitely was double digits, but he was, I think, a little bit past too. He was having a really great match.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get right back into it in just a moment here, but either way, we'll see if that momentum switches. Otherwise, could just have 2 rounds left, and that's it for Black Dragons to take it. But here we go. Get right back into Consulate and see if we can finish it up one way or another.
Yep, we'll be loading back in, finally. And Black Dragons will be going back to their defensive side. So they're going to go to lobby. They have defended top floor and bottom floor successfully, which means they need to go to a third site. Neither team choosing to go to the new site, instead opting for this typical Consulate 3-site rotation.
Yeah, we know there are some interesting strategies for defending the new site, and we have seen it successfully defended from some different teams. We saw it happen, I believe, in Montreal, as well as from G2 at one point. So there's definitely some good ways to do it, but there's also some good ways to attack as well. So I think it'll be a while before we see it, even with the smallest amount of consistency. I mean, do you remember when Lobby was not even played very much for a while, right? When it was just console and Garage was the primary back in the early days of Consulate. So it does shift over time.
Yeah, G2 actually did play on it against Vitality. That was the match that they played where they're becoming the very first team in this season to beat every other team in their region.
Wow.
Get a win after they beat Vitality, and they won that 6-2. They defended Archives twice, and they managed to make it work once. They also had Vitality defend Archives, but Vitality couldn't successfully defend it.
No, that was a good read on rushing downstairs instead of trying to fight upstairs. But I mean, we'll see if there develops an actual meta around it, or if it's just the case where people are kind of throwing it in as one-offs for a while.
I think it's going to be one-offs for a while, but that's always that's how new maps and new sites always play. There's definitely always a way to successfully defend a site like that. It just needs some. It takes work, it takes effort, and not every team is willing to put it in.
Well, in this case, I don't think the new operator is going to make much difference in that, but as seasons change and we do get new operators, that will obviously influence the bomb sites that are played as well. So definitely a possibility down the road. We are going to see the AUG I was talking about earlier. Might not see as much just because of the 5.52 is such a better weapon now, especially with the recoil changes. Even the LMG is still a pretty good one, as you mentioned earlier. But hey, if it's still preference and he hasn't seen a reason to change it, good for spawns.
No, that's exactly it. Preference. While the AUG is I think, a great deal. No, it's not as good as the 5.52.
It takes up half your screen, but there we go. Ooh.
Drunks, nice shot there onto 9XT, taking out the player pressuring from that A balcony, or what would be the A balcony. The side is on top floor, but the projector balcony in this case. Either way, good job to Drunks, continuing his stellar performance. But yeah, the attack is very much slowed out here. As you can see, they're confronting RDZ and Drunks and really not having a lot of luck here on this actual fight.
Well, that was a good initial kill on the Jackal because, of course, that's going to enable a bit more roam play than they would have had otherwise. But like I said earlier, we didn't see Jackal be a big factor in stopping the roam play. So we'll see if they're able to capitalize on whatever they can get out of this. They also have the extra cameras from, well, a lot of cameras here, really, because you have the Evil Eyes, the Black Eyes, and the Yokais. I like how they all rhyme. Providing a lot of extra intel. Drunks with his second of the round already, and that's going to be some grenades off the board.
RDZ unable to support his teammate, however, and he will go down. GCR aware of where Drunks is playing as well. Small looking to potentially flank from yellow stairs, and he has actually been managing to work his way into a decent lurk a lot of these rounds. The marks from Lev will give away Spawn's location. Drunks gets his third kill of the round onto GCR. So, will he be able to get the ace is the question, as Slash is unable to land any of his shots. It's looking better and better for Drunks. Small will get his kill though, and Spawn's able to refrag, but damage is done. Slash with a wide peek. Black Dragons hold on to that site.
Well, that puts them in a situation now where they're guaranteed that tie, guaranteed the 1 point. That will help them, depending on what the situation ends up being with NIP, to keep them ahead from that 8th spot. Of course, plenty of weeks to go. This is not the deciding match of all. But still good for them, especially if they can close this out here into 3 points, because 3 points is quite a bit in the scoring system in terms of how far it can leapfrog you ahead of some other people, depending on how close you are to the next competitor up. And as we said, the gap between these guys is pretty big in terms of the bottom 2 versus the rest of the leaderboard. So any kind of jump up that, especially jumping up over multiple teams, is going to make a big difference for Black Dragons.
I think they will, though, be able to push past Pain if Black Dragons wins this one right now, though it won't be a big leap, that's for sure.
It's a start.
It is definitely a start. They do need to get that. Now, Pain have been asleep at the wheel for the last 5 rounds, and I have no idea what happened to them, but it's like somebody... It just, yeah, they really haven't been able to do anything. Black Dragons kind of woke up as well, where Black Dragons was making a lot of mistakes in the first 3 rounds. Suddenly they stopped doing that. So this has just been a huge shift, and it's not much more to talk about other than Drunk's performance. He's been winning almost all of his fights. In fact, I want to say pretty much all of them. If he gets into an actual fight, like if you're pointing a gun at him and he's pointing a gun at you, it seems like Drunks wins it, period. And then you've got Small, who has been lurking really hardcore, and never in the same position twice, and always catching his opponents off guard. In the meantime, Pain Gaming are not watching their flanks very well, and that's been doing a lot of damage from the sides to Pain's attack.
Well, we are going to see Drunks stick on the pulse this time, so I'm curious to see if he's still going to be as impactful on the pulse as he was on the Legion. But in this case, even if he's not, as long as his team wins the round, that's it for this map. It doesn't really matter at that point.
So a little bit of wasted utility there we saw from the Revolt's Hibana. Flashbang wasted outside of admin office, but that's not the worst utility to lose. As much as it's very... Oh, what? A pulse shotgun?
All right.
When we saw the pulse, I did not expect to see the shotgun as well. That
been a while.
A bit of a combination there. Definitely a lethal combination, and I think Drunks will probably be able to make it work for him. You can see he's opened up that drop down. The reason he would do that is so he can rotate late to deny a plant and projector if he wants to. Lev will also take out spawns. Here's the run out to check B windows, no one there, but he almost died actually to one of the attackers who was waiting outside the yellow stairs. If he wasn't on drone, that would have been a kill for Revolts.
Well, either way, that is still man advantage here, and they also have lost the IQ, which means a lot less tracking on Drunks. He's going to be able to scan a lot more freely and not get caught out doing it. Still could get tracked by Jackal, but that is a good position for him to be in on that roam. As well as, if they can take out the Jackal, that'll give Small a bit more advantage as well, because we were talking about how Small is playing a lot more of a fluid roam. So his ability to continue to do that is going to be a problem for them. But Lev playing this window very, very heavy here in terms of stopping them out and doing a good job of it. So far, they haven't really been able to contest him all that well. And as I say that, though, GCR finally does.
Nice kill there onto Lev. Lev has been holding onto the site so well in the previous rounds. Small, though, again, finding himself behind his opponents. As FK takes down RDZ, the C4 from Drunks will land, but not on the defuse planter. Small does manage to get GCR, though, coming up from behind. Revolts over by yellow stairs, not in a great position, but 9XT left with the charge of this post plant. He's got a Claymore to support himself, and he will take out Slash, so this is very much winnable for the attackers still. As Drunk starts to come up yellow stairs, he's going to be behind his opponent, but will he know it? He will, but won't land the shot. 9XT and Revolts, the duo, to finally get Pain out of a slump, and we will go to the final round. Pain fighting for that draw at 5-4, and Black Dragons still hungry for the win.
Now I'm curious to see if they're going to go for Console again, or Garage, which they can now pick as their secondary. They are going to go for that, it looks like, to start with, so... And that's the thing, is they're not necessarily going to know which they would pick. Will they bring the Thermite on Pain? Something they didn't do last time on their attack of this. They had just the Hibana.
Yeah, and it did really hurt Pain when they didn't bring the Thermite. So this might be a huge blunder if they don't 6-pick on the Thermite right now.
Well, at least the upside for Pain is if they can lock this round out, that locks it out as a tie, which is the best they can do at this point, and that ends it. So they've just got to try and secure one more round. And 9X not going to 6-pick over to Blitz this time, just repeating himself. And there we go, the 6th pick from Pulse to Legion again, coming out from Drunks. I think he was somewhat effective as Pulse last time, but not as effective as he would like, as that C4 didn't stop the plant. Did still get a kill, though.
Important to remember that you cannot, while you can see the enemy operators in that reveal phase, you cannot see the enemy site. So, of course, they don't know that they need a thermite right now necessarily, other than the fact that the basement and the... other than the fact that the lobby was successfully defended and they can't go back there. Right now, Pain have the, or rather, Black Dragons have the options of any site besides that middle floor.
Well, we'll see, like you said, if that ends up being a big factor in opening up that garage, because not only did it take them a really long time to open it, they can't open it very much. That becomes basically not too useful of an attack point, which in that case it looked like they funneled themselves mostly through yellow stairs, which can be a bit of a death trap if they know that that's all you can do and they know you don't have a thermite.
We do have to give credit where credit's due, though, to Pain. And the last time they attacked onto the basement, while they didn't manage to get much of the garage open, Revolts, as the Habana, after opening the garage, the only person outside of garage was also the only one on Pain to do really any damage to the Black Dragon's defense.
Yeah, and he's killing Drunks of all people, too.
Yeah, so...
Good round for them as well, but I mean, yeah, they didn't win that ultimately. At least they're not going to try and go with the blitz this time from 9x.
Yeah, so there's a lot of potential for Revolts to do the same thing he did last time they were on this floor, and if the rest of Pain is able to actually inflict some damage, then this could be a draw.
Drone's ready.
Well, we'll see. It is a little bit of a slow start here, already a minute in, and not too much accomplished in terms of getting anyone down, but this is what happened last time as well. They took a lot of map control early on, and it was the retakes from Black Dragons that ultimately cost Pain quite a bit.
Yeah. Small, again, always in the most unusual positions, just waiting for an opportunity. Default camera, I believe, in the Visa office, at least near the default camera location, left open, or left undestroyed. And that will still be available to Black Dragons. There's going to be a lot of information they can gather on the aggressing Pain players from that area.
We'll see if they can turn that into much. Obviously, they're trying to play a little bit upwards if they can. Maybe get some C4s going, some other kinds of destruction. The Sledge as well trying to do the same thing. But no one quite finding each other. And again, lack of opening this door, or the garage door, is finally going to get rectified. You saw the 1x guy looks like a little bit of trouble from RDZ in trying to vault up. But he does have some coverage there from Lev on that Echo drone.
Yeah. Now that the garage is opened up, Pain can start applying some more damage. But speaking of damage, Drunk is going to be there to inflict his own, as he has been doing so well throughout this match. RDZ also takes out Spawns, so it's looking worse and worse for Pain as the round continues to play out. 9 taking a lot of damage from an Evil Eye, over 50 points.
Wow, well played.
You got to pay attention to when you're being shot from that Evil Eye. It can be a little bit hard to tell sometimes, but that tunnel vision really going to work against the Jackal.
Well played by Slash. We'll see.
GCR holding these yellow stairs. He's going to have to do some major damage to cover for this defuse plant, but it's not going to happen. RDZ and Drunks, what a play between them, leaving Revolts, the last attacker. He does not have time to get 5 kills. He will take out RDZ as RDZ goes frag hunting, but it's too late, and Black Dragons will win the match on the final round.
Well played. It was definitely a tough one at the end there, as it looked like there could be a comeback, but nope, definitely not going to happen. And good lockout there, only dropping 1 round on defense. And
yeah.
I guess that's their strong side there, for sure, on Consulate.
It was almost 6 rounds in a row for Black Dragons. It ended up being 5, a loss, and then the 6 finally. But they were very close to a very incredible streak.